Hey guys, how's it going? It's Josh over here at Flippin Tail. Today we're going to do our 300-hour service on our twin Yamaha F200s. They are 2024s. So I've got the 27XS Cape Horn. I love this boat. First, we're going to do an oil change today. We are going to do an inline fuel filter today. We're going to change the water fuel separators. We are going to change the water pump and water pump housing. We are going to check our hubs. We are going to drain the oil out of the lower units and refill those. So yeah, we got a lot going on today. All right, first step we're going to do on these engines is we're going to kind of strip them all down. That way, since we are pulling the lower units, they're as light as possible. I'm going to pull my cowlings off. Literally just flip these two levers right here, and then there's one right there, and then that cowling is going to come right off. Very simple. It's going to pop off. We're also going to go ahead and take this side panel off. 1 screw, 2 screw, 3 screw, and then there's 1, 2, and then up under right here there's a screw. These you have to be careful because there's a little square nut back here right there, and that will fall off, so just make sure you get that thing out of there. Also, when we take the cowling off, right there is a screw that's going to hold this plastic piece on. Now when we take this off, we can drain the oil out of the engine. We're also going to go ahead and take our hubs off. We're going to pop the cotter pin. We're going to take off the nut. We're going to take the props off. That way our lower unit's a little bit lighter when we deal with it. Lower unit removal. 1, 2, 3 bolts, 4, 5, 6, and then right here you cannot forget this bolt. This is very important. Right there, there's a bolt inside of that, and I learned that the hard way a long time ago. So once we get those off, we're just going to slide it down. We're going to actually lift the engines up a little bit so it does not hit the ground, because it is a long shaft. That's what he said. Well, let's see if that back one is folded. Yeah. All right, our pin's out. Take off the prop. For this, I can't get on those. No line. Looks good. Now we're going to drain them. We are going to drain them by getting a flathead right here and right here. Make sure you do not booger up these screws, because it will not go back on. There it goes. They're just so sensitive. You can't strip them or they'll never get it out. There's a little magnet on there. Let's see how much damage we got in there. Doesn't look too bad. There it goes. Now it should pour. She looks clean. Now you'd be worried if you saw a lot of white in there, meaning water. So that looks great. Yay. Okay, so one thing I am going to do, since we are taking the lower unit off, we took the prop off, but God forbid we drop this thing and these threads get boogered up. We're going to go ahead and cover these threads just in case we drop it and bump it or bang it. The threads will stay good. So this is just to protect our threads. Leave it right there. We are going to drain the oil now. So to drain the oil, right here, so see, I like to tear off a piece of cardboard Otherwise it just drips down the engine. So that is a 14 metric. Yes. So I use these big monkey wrenches to get the oil filters off and put them on. The kits are nice because they have everything you need. They have even this nice little funnel. So I think all your little pieces in here. Yes. So that's going to be in with your filter. That's just a new crimp washer that goes right there. That's just to keep it from seizing up. Just gonna go right there. Go right here is a guard. Alright, just like that. We're gonna do the same thing down here. That way we don't crunch up our oil filter. I'm gonna give the old rubber hose thing another trip. So Ryan's up here using the handy dandy cardboard funnel they gave us. There it is. It's beauty. We're gonna start with 4. I do believe it calls for 4.6 liters, but I like to put in 4 and then measure it. Normally you should crank it up so you get oil in the oil filter, and that way you have exactly what you need. So we do need to replace the inline fuel filter, so that's going to go right here. We're going to get that off. It is sensitive, don't break it. The guy that says don't break it goes in with this giant crescent. There it goes. It should not be that tight. And you've seen Ryan grab it, which is smart because it will break right here if you put too much pressure on it. And there is a wire connected right here. When you twist it, you want to leave it twisted. That way when you turn it back, the wire ends up straight. Okay, so that literally comes right out like so. Drops right back in like so. Notice I did not let go of it, so I know exactly how many twists that wire had. There we go. That's your inline fuel filter. Easy enough, right? So we had the engine tilted to get the oil or the lube out of the lower unit. So when you're testing your oil, you need to make sure this is pretty darn level. We've added 4. Now we're gonna go up. See where we're at here. We're way low. So add like half of one. Well, 5 quarts. We took all 5. Means we did a good job draining it. And she's sitting good. She's right there at the halfway point. Oil's good. Feels good. Okay, so also what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the spark plug. So this is your spark plug cover. Let me show you what's on this thing. So it snaps in here, and down there it lifts up. Same on this side. So always make sure you take the top off first. Pop, pop, and see those lift. So straight out and then lift. So these are our spark plugs. We're going to keep them in order, 1 2 3 4. It's hard to mess them up because the wires are right in order for you. Oh, that was tight. I almost broke it off in there.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, if spark plugs are too tight, just take it in for the dealer to do it. Because you break it off, you're screwed. They are looking great. No oil on them. Alright, we got our spark plugs. Put a little bit of anti-seize on that. That's going to get up in the threads. So, always find the proper threading. Never want to cross thread these guys. When you do it enough, you just torque down. About 10, 12 pounds. 10 to 12 pounds right there. £12. Alright, we're going to get our spark plug covers back on. We are going to use a little dielectric grease here, and really just using it right around the tip. Always make sure to lube the tip. We're gonna just, these literally just slide in like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our bolts go back on here. I haven't been showing you both engines because showing you both engines, I'm doing the same thing on both engines. So I'm just doing it on one. I'm gonna get this. We're going to come back, snug it up. 10 to 12 pounds of torque. Alright, we're going to get the thermostat checked out here. So up top, we're going to take off this plastic cover right here. We're just going to loosen it up and pop it up because we have to get at this. This is where your thermostat housing is going to be. So he's got one 10mm bolt right there, and he's got another one on the other side. So we're just going to loosen that guy up. This comes up, your thermostat's right in here. Those are going to be 10mm too. Alright, so we're just going to pop that up just enough. You don't need to take it all the way off. We're just going to pop it up so we can get these bolts right here. Those are 10mm. We're going to loosen them all together. It says there's only 2, but I see 3 here. We're going to loosen all 3 of those. And then this is just gonna pop right off, and that is water coming out of there. So hold that real quick. So we're gonna take a look at this. So this actually looks really good. A little bit of corrosion, but a little corrosion right here where water's been sitting maybe. If it's bad, this little rivot's going to be rusted out, so we're going to go ahead and replace that one.
What? My bad.
He's new to YouTube.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's the old one, that's the new one. This one's still working. You know, I mean, that's really what you're looking for. There is a little corrosion going on, so before this gets corroded too bad, I'm going to go ahead and replace it now. So we're literally just going to slide that right there. And then we're going to put that back on. And make sure our bolts line up right. And we never tighten. Here, let go of this. We never tighten everything until we've started everything.
My hand's hurting so bad holding this.
Oh my gosh, he's holding a GoPro and his hand is falling apart. Alright, I'm gonna give it a little bit of little torque to it. Alright, new thermostat there. And we're gonna do the same thing on the second one. Oh yeah, so we do need to snap this back there. Make sure that's snapped in. Double check this is snapped in, and then he's gonna put his 10 mils back in up top and take the other ones off. We are going to spray some Corrosion X. It's gonna keep us. That way, if any salt water gets in there, it keeps it all nice and clean. And we will go ahead and snap back on our cover. Remember, when we put this back on, these are easy to break. Those snap in the bottom first, right on those little rubber grommets. There's one right there. There's one right there. There's another one right here. And then the top one, there's one right there. And there's another one right there. Okay. All right, so both engines, top ends are done. We can go ahead and get our cowlings back on. And all we're working with now is our lower units next. One, two, three. And some of these, sometimes you can't get a socket on, I've noticed. So one thing I do want to point out before you go loosening this top bolt, it is a 13 millimeter. And you do want to pay attention to where this arrow is right here, because that this will steer your boat a lot. So it's going to list left or right if you don't do that enough. So if you are listening to the left, you're going to turn that a little bit more, or excuse me, back that way, and it'll stand it back up. But for our purposes, it was right here. Just need to know that when we put it back on. 13 mil. And I almost lost it. Okay, so this is the other top bolt that you have to take off. So know that that is there. All right, real quick, I told you it was a 13, but this one in here is a 12. These right here, these are all 14s. So what happens is when you go to unscrew these, unbolt these, this ends up here. So you got to have a wrench. That way you're not trapped. That makes sense. But we are going to break them free with the socket. Alright, so I'm going to loosen these things. Normally what I do, so if this thing starts separating, this is your seal right here. If this thing's going to start separating, you're going to have to drop this thing down and put it, I normally put it on a bucket. And I'll pick it up later. So I'll normally put that on a bucket. That way, as this thing comes hauling ass out, what you don't want to do is bend your shaft. So, very important. But if this seal does not separate apart, we're okay. So all our bolts are out. Notice there is the one long one out of here. Will help. Where am I hanging out? There we go. And when you do put it back together, the biggest thing is lining this thing up. That's your reverse and gear. So that's the toughest thing to get straight. All right, we're gonna start dissecting this. Got a 12 metric on this guy. They're gonna give you all new stuff for this too. So. All right. Slide that off. This is the other seal. That slides off. That one comes off as well. We're even going to keep the impeller the right way because they're going to go on different ways depending on if it's a left-handed motor or right. So really, best way to get it out. Alright, we stepped it up to a chisel.
That worked a lot better.
And that's your little key seat. Alright, so that comes off. Alright, these pins are going to come out too. That's out. Starting to rust, so alright, we gotta get this key seat in here, and it's always gotta go nice and straight, which is not always the easiest chore. This goes here. Oh. There is our key seat. Our key seat has to line up. There's the key seat. Okay. Alright, so we have our actual impeller on. We have 3 washers. We have a flat and a beveled and a flat. So the flat beveled flat goes right over that guy. And our snap ring. And our metal clamp. Okay. gasket first. Now we're gonna line these up. There we go. Now we're gonna get our big gasket on there. Get our rubber gasket in here. Put plenty of grease on that, and it keeps it from coming out. This gasket is a pain in the butt sometimes. All the time. All the time it's a pain in the butt. It's gotta stay. Let's try it again. Good. That's it right there. You guys need to switch back a little bit, but I'll tighten down. Just gotta sit properly. All right. Before started. Same thing, I don't want to crack plastic. Remember, if you tighten too much, you crack plastic. It's not what we're doing. I'm gonna grease this. Gotta grease this. Yeah, that's way better than red tacky grease.
Yeah.
That's great grease. Yeah, so I put red tacky grease on this once, and I had to get new engines because the shafts didn't come out. So we're gonna put this one back on and extension for this one. I'll go get that. Alright, last but not least, put the guy back on. We're gonna line it right up back up where we had it before. Right there. And that's good. Grease that one up. Feels these, so maybe that's what was doing it. There it goes. There's that. Make sure those line up. Should look like right there, but we are going to get that little tab on. That is a proper pin set right there. Nice and neat. Now Ryan's is going to pump this thing full of oil, and that's going to take about a little over one of those. So we're going to get the engine pretty close to level. We're going to pump. I've actually found that you want to go, if you want this perfect, you put it a little past level. That way this hole, everything fills up to here and it pumps out of that hole, and you're going to keep pumping until air bubbles come out of that. While I got this off, I do have two fittings up in here I need to grease, so I might as well get them on here. And that is going to grease this. Oh, there it goes. Too much grease, it gets all over your boat. Alright, so the engines are back together. Reminder, don't put the cowling on until you get the sides on, because we forgot the top screw. Forgot the top screw that we went over earlier. Don't forget about that guy. It is right in there. There's a Phillips. So once that's done, yeah. One more thing that we got to do is our fuel water separators. So those are down in the floor. So you can write the dates on it, but I just start over the we're going to show you how to reset our gauges now, so you know when your next 100-hour service is. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to reset your Yamaha gauges for your next 100-hour maintenance interval. And we have our square gauges here. We are going to turn the engine on, and once it comes on, you'll see the maintenance coming here. We are going to push mode once to get to the regular gauge screen here. Now we're going to press and hold the mode button for 4 seconds to activate the custom mode. Then we're going to press the set button once to switch over to the maintenance hour display. Next, we're going to hold the mode and set button for 1 second, and it's going to reset it to 0 hours. Now we're going to press and hold the set button for 1 second to return to the normal display. Now, when we turn it off, when we turn it back on, it's reset. And that wraps up our 300-hour service. And now